Here are 30 random facts that you didn't even know about. If you start a certain contact mission, you'll be able to spawn right in the sky instead of spawning on the ground. Now this is super strange because, most of the missions you'll always be spawning on the ground. But for some reason, if you start a mission while you're in the air, you'll be able to immediately start flying down once you start the mission. The only time I could see this would be helpful is if maybe, let's say if you're far away from where the mission spawns, you can just skydive right to the location by just using your parachute. So I guess that's the only situation where this would actually help you out. But it is kind of strange though. If you smoke in GTA Online, you will literally lose a small amount of health. This literally means that if you use it enough times, you'll probably die from using it, which is very, very weird. If you take a regular pistol with 0 attachments and then you click the easy way out option in the menu, you will get this animation. Now you may notice what's the difference. If you add a suppressor on the regular pistol, for some reason you'll get this animation instead. Which really makes people wonder, how does adding a suppressor prevent getting a certain animation? That is kind of strange in my opinion. But yeah, now you know in case you were interested in this. If you go to this specific location right down below near the Maze Bank Tower, it will look like this. As you can see, there are benches, trash cans, mailboxes, and all other types of details. But for some reason, if you enter GTA Online and go to the same exact location, there's absolutely nothing here. Even though it is currently nighttime, even during the day, it will look exactly empty for some reason, which is very strange because GTA Story Mode will have more detail at this location than it does in the online version, which is very, very strange. If you come to this location right outside the Merryweather's HQ area, you'll literally be able to pick up a container using your cargo bob. And you can also fly really, really high with the container right below you. Because most of the vehicles in this game, if you use the cargo bob to pick up another thing, you won't be able to really fly high at all. You'll be stuck to flying super duper low to the ground since the object is heavy. But yeah, you can actually drop this on other vehicles and other players, and you can attack them with this container cargo crate, which is also pretty interesting. For some reason, if you are sitting inside of your vehicle and you want to turn your headlights on, you're unable to do it while you have your phone up. But if you're carrying your phone in one hand, you should be able to access the light in your vehicle because you only need one hand to do it. So that's kind of strange that you cannot turn on the lights while you're holding your phone. Maybe Rockstar Games forgot to add this feature. If you are wearing colored glasses while you're in first person mode, the tint will very, very slowly get removed. As you can see, it's currently yellow, but over time the color will slowly change into the regular color that you'll normally see in if the glasses were not tinted. This is very strange, but this only works for colored glasses because if you use regular sunglasses, the tint will stay exactly the same and it will not change over time. But when you use colored glasses, the tint will change. If you activate your thermal goggles while you're about to launch your cruise missile inside of your Kosaka, your cruise missiles will actually allow you to use the thermal vision also. This will allow you to easily get an elimination when you're trying to attack another player or another object because you can literally see their location indicated by the red highlighting on your screen. This makes it way easier to find people. The only problem that I can think of is that it will make your screen darker since you are in the thermal vision. But yeah, you're gonna have this really, really dark screen and it's gonna be hard to see, but it will be easier to attack other players. Right near Paleto Bay, you'll probably see this big lumberjack on your screen. If you shoot this big barrel that is on your screen on the lumberjack statue, water will pour out everywhere, and also pieces of wood will start to fall out. It is kind of interesting how water can actually come out of it, and it's actually pretty good attention from detail from Rockstar, since you can literally see the water pouring out of it right when you shoot it. For some reason this doesn't really work with the minigun, but that's okay. Inside of the ammunition store, you can actually see some unreleased / unpurchasable weapons. If you look on the screen, you'll be able to see this huge knife right here. It looks like a bigger version of the machete. But yeah, it's actually pretty interesting because you cannot buy this in GTA Online, so why is this here? That would be kind of cool if we were able to purchase these because there's a ton of them. Also, on the other side of the counter, you'll be able to see some headphones, which you are obviously unable to purchase. But I'm pretty sure these are probably for the gun range so that you don't have to hear the bullets, shoot super duper loud. So those are probably the gun headphones. If you shoot both of the back rear tires of the peyote gasser, you'll be able to infinitely wheelie. Unfortunately, it comes with one downside. It's going to be very, very difficult to control the car because it will constantly spin out because it's basically uneven. But it does look pretty cool in my opinion. I'm pretty sure this will allow you to go faster too since you are doing a constant wheelie. But yeah, it does literally last forever, but you have to shoot out both of the rear tires for it to work. If you pour jerry can on the ground and then get inside of your vehicle that has an exhaust pipe at the back of it, and then you hold your accelerator button and your bumper button at the same time, you'll be able to ignite a fire with your vehicle. This is kind of strange though, but it does make sense because fire on fire will equal more fire. It really doesn't last that long. It will probably last about 2 seconds. Did you know that if you shoot an NPC's hand, you will be able to one-shot them immediately? This is kind of strange how this works, but one of the downsides to this is that it is very difficult to precisely hit their hand. But yeah, it is very difficult, but you can one-shot NPCs with this method. Did you know that if you add the holographic sight to your marksman rifle, you'll be able to aim in third person? Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, the marksman rifle is a sniper and you're typically only able to aim while you're in first person. So by adding this holographic sight, you're able to aim in third person. I feel like it makes the gun much more fun because I'm using it and I have pretty decent aim with it. But yeah, this is a cool gun to use, and I highly recommend trying out using the holographic sight because you will be able to aim in third person, which is much better. Did you know that if you're driving on one of the highways on GTA Online, you may notice these yellow things on the side of the road? If you crash into them, you can literally squish them and they can go forward. It is weird how you can kind of mess with these and just keep crashing into them and it will just keep moving forward. Right outside of the LSIA airport, if you go down these steps, you'll notice that there's going to be a huge screen with a phone called iFruit 9iX, which surprisingly enough, it is actually based off the iPhone 4S. The reason I'm bringing this up, the iPhone 4S is super duper old. We're currently on like the iPhone 16 or something, I don't know. But yeah, the iPhone 4S, that's how you know this game is super duper old. I mean, just look at the icons on the phone on your screen and you can tell they look pretty dated. But yeah, obviously this game is from 2013, but I'm trying to emphasize the point that this game is super duper old. If you request a Merryweather pickup helicopter and you get inside of the helicopter and aim one of your snipers, the map will expand a huge amount. This will help you see basically all across the map, and depending on where you are located, you'll be able to see the whole Los Santos, which is also pretty cool. Now this also gives the same exact effect when you click the down D-pad when you're playing GTA story mode. But yeah, this will allow you to see literally everywhere on the map, which is also pretty cool, and you can see other enemies if they're trying to run up on you. You can actually use your Oppressor Mark II while you're doing the Kosaka Submarine / Cayo Perico prep missions. All you have to do is drive the Oppressor Mark II right on top of this little square on your Kosaka Submarine. Then, once you land it, just get out of it and then aim your gun just a little bit, and that's going to make sure that it stays just for a little bit. It will still fall if you're gone for too long, but it will give you just enough time if you're trying to start the preps. When you fire a weapon, you actually aren't even pulling the trigger. Even though if you pull the trigger on your controller or whatever you're playing on, the trigger on the actual gun itself will not move. The little thing at the top will move, which proves that I'm actually clicking the button on my controller, but for some reason it's not even doing anything if you pay attention to where my pointer finger is pointing on the weapon. If you are unarmed and point your finger right outside of the window while you're in first person mode, your character will use its left hand. But if you do the same exact thing in third person mode, for some reason it will only allow you to use your right hand. Not sure why this is actually different. If you go to Franklin's new house in GTA Online, he will have an indestructible car. No matter how many times you shoot at it with an RPG, homing missile, or grenade launcher, it will not blow up. Right when you exit your agency's elevator, for some reason if you hold both your aim and fire buttons at the same time, your character will go into this little attack stance for some reason. Which is also pretty strange because you cannot do this normally while you're inside of a regular interior. But in your agency, you're actually able to go into the combat stance, which is strange. It doesn't let you fight, however. Did you know that practically every car in GTA Online is a manual transmission? The car will have the accelerator, the clutch pedal, and the brake. If you look inside of the interior, you can also see the shifter. That is kind of weird, however, since there are no cars with an automatic transmission. That is kind of strange, considering this is based off in California, which is still in America. And most of the people in America, I would say, use automatic transmissions. If you go inside of your Kosaka Submarine's kitchens, all of the microwaves will say 4:20 o'clock. The time will never change, so that means it will stay exactly the same until the end of time. That is kind of strange how there are 4 microwaves down here. Not sure about this one, but maybe Lamar Davis or Snoop Dogg forgot to reset the timer. The Oppressor Mark II has no wheels. It's a vehicle that can literally hover. But if you accelerate and reverse at the same time right once you enter your Oppressor Mark II, for some reason it will lead some tire marks. But like I said earlier, the Oppressor Mark II has no tires, so how is that possible? If you go to this location on your map, you'll see a sign. For some reason there is no collision on the sign, which is very strange because you can literally fly right through it if you wanted to. I think Rockstar Games rushed this and forgot to add collision to it. You can actually get a kill while you're doing the gather intel mission on the Cayo Perico, but it will only work for the guards with the white cones of vision. It will not work for the guards with the red cones of vision. But yeah, you can just take one of the vehicles on Cayo Perico and keep constantly crashing into them. Eventually they'll be on the floor and you can just leave the vehicle right over top of them and then they'll eventually die. This is very weird because you can actually get a kill on this map without even using weapons. On the construction building that hasn't been completed in 30 years, for some reason, if you take your Oppressor Mark II, you can drive right through these red objects. There's also no collision on these objects, but if you go on foot and aim your gun, you will not be able to clip through them for some reason. That is very strange. Maybe they forgot to add collision to the vehicles because they didn't expect people to actually be up here. Did you know that there are actually escalators in GTA Online? This is very strange because these do not work. Kinda similar to how in most malls, most of the escalators never work. I don't know why these are here. Maybe they forgot to add the programming so that it can go up, but that would be kind of cool if these did work. But yeah, these are kind of pointless. Every single ammunition store with this specific target icon that has the shooting range inside will always have one of the soda vending machines inside. For some reason, if you go to one of the ammunition stores without the gun range, it will not have any of the vending machines. Consider checking out this video on your screen. Leave a comment if you enjoyed the video.